Hey guys! Sorry, I'm a little late. Hey guys!
Tanya. Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey guys!
Tanya. Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey guys!
Tanya. Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey guys!
Tanya. Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey guys!
Tanya. Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey guys!
Tanya. Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey guys!
Tanya. Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey
Tanya.
guys!
Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey
Tanya.
guys!
Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey
Tanya.
guys!
Hey Jerome.
Oh, earphones. Just let me get my
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey guys! It's so hard. Hey guys! Where's that sound coming from? It's so hard getting onto live stream now. I think it might be. I want to say it's a fault in their system, but it's more than likely a fault in Lisa. So if I am 5 minutes late sometimes, just keep checking my Facebook page and my YouTube channel and I will appear. It just seems to keep setting it to private and I can't get it off this private setting. I have to try. I'm sure it's me and not them, but I feel like it is them. I'm sure that's a wrong interpretation. But if you do want to watch this live, if you're watching the recordings, then I do it every Wednesday and Sunday at 6 p.m. French time. And I'm going to show you some different things now. So you know when I go live, you can subscribe to my channel. And this is how you subscribe. You go to YouTube, you put in my name, Lisa Cairns, and then you click on Lisa Cairns, and you go to subscribe. And then next to subscribe, there's a bell, and then you put send all notifications, save. And if you want to come to one of my events, I'm going to show you my events and how to subscribe to my website, and you'll get updated with my events. So this, you go to www.lisacairns.com. And then what should come up is a subscribe button. Join our mailing list, so put in your email there. And then if you go to the events page, you'll see that I've got 4 events at the moment. I've got one in London, the 17th and 18th of December. I've got one in India for talks for 3 weeks in India, in Tiruvannamalai. And then I've got a retreat in Cairns, Spain, which is a very beautiful place in the south of Spain in March. And then I also have one in June, Saint Antonin Noble. So you can see all of those. Yeah. And if you click on it, then you can see all the nice pictures of Saint Antonin. And if you want to ask me a question tonight, then you can send me a message on Skype, or you can call me on Skype. And my Skype address is Lisa Cairns 12. So just send me Lisa Cairns 12. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Richard Black Dog. Hi, First Name. Hi, Sana. Hi, Prachi. Hi, Jerome. Hi, Dad Jana. Hi, David, Ben, Mark, Andrew. Just give me a few minutes to get going. To get it going. To get it on. Hi, Tinka. So this is all about being naked and vulnerable. Totally naked to what's happening. This is not about becoming non-dual. This is not about taking on non-duality and becoming non-duality. I just realized I need to turn my display down. Makes my fans chill out a bit. So this isn't about becoming non-dual. and about having a new religion. I know the person would like it to take on a new religion, but this isn't about it. This is about something that's way beyond anything that we can say in words and any religion and any dogma. And non-duality can become a new dogma when you listen too much to words. This is about a stillness that's present no matter what arises, no matter what's appearing, no matter how you describe it. There is this stillness here experiencing itself. And that stillness has two sides to it. It has everything and it also has nothing. So the emptiness, the no-thing side is looking and experiencing itself. And then there is this aliveness when it manifests. There is this sense of being, this sense of existence that is all things. And we think that we're looking and that we're alive inside the body, but actually looking and aliveness is everywhere and everything. And the body's appearing in that. It's not the body that's alive. The body is dead meat. It's not the body that hears anything or experiences anything. The body is an experience. It's being looked through at this universe, but it's as much as an experience as this universe. And it's no more you. Who you truly are, who's listening now, and that aliveness, that essence, that sense of being, which equals love, isn't a thing, isn't anything related to this body. It looks through and acts through this body, but that body isn't the experiencer. The essence isn't contained inside the body. This is so beautiful. This is absolute love. And the apparent process to awakening isn't about learning more about non-duality and understanding it more and getting to all these places. If it was, then all the intelligent people would be the ones that's enlightened. It's actually about coming back to what you actually are. It's about coming back to what's happening. This moment. It's the end of a resistance of whatever's being experienced, and it's a collapsing back into what's happening. It's an absolute intimacy with experiencing. It's the end of trying to be perfect as a human, and then the human can be expressed as it's being expressed. Absolute intimacy with the feelings, the sensations. And maybe you think that the good non-duality teacher is somebody that teaches for the whole next 2 hours and speaks the whole next 2 hours, but it's not. It's actually about coming back to a silence, not about intellectually learning and understanding something here. It's coming back to a silence of what is. Hi, Renate. Yes, it will be nice to see you tomorrow, Renate. Hi, Jessie. Hi, Law. Hi, Steve. Hi, Kilometrov. Hey.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. I think you need to have your headphones and microphone in because there's feedback happening.
I'll try. Now is better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. Hey.
Hi. Actually, I have not question.
Oh.
Have not a question, and my English is not very well. I just try to talk to you without preparing. Now you're saying about this aliveness which experienced this body, and you say this aliveness is experiencer, not the body.
Yeah.
Actually, I see it clearly, quite long time, but still fluctuations always happening. It feels like progress is happening, but is it what must happen? It is sometimes this fluctuation will end, or what?
So what was the question exactly? That the fluctuation will end?
Yeah.
What has to happen for the fluctuation to end?
Should they end, or is it an end for this search? What is what is the last point, you might say? If there is.
There's lots you don't understand. You need to understand what it is to be a human and what it is to be suffering. So you need to understand what the human animal is, what it wants, what it needs, what it's looking for. And then you need to see that that one that's asking me this question now isn't actually interested in enlightenment, but it's interested in staying a person and taking more things for itself.
Why? Who's interested in enlightenment?
Sorry?
Who is interested in enlightenment?
No one is.
No one?
But this is have you been listening to my talks for very long? Been listening to my talks for a long time?
Your talks no, just few times.
Okay,
few
good.
times.
So so you still see enlightenment as a personal thing, as something that you get, but that one that wants enlightenment, who is it that knows that? So that person that's looking for enlightenment is an experience appearing in a dream. It's not an actual experiencer. That one that is looking for enlightenment is inside the film of life, is inside the illusion.
Whose dream is it? Who's
It's not somebody's. 1 second, my dog wants in. Come on, Easy. Come on. Woo-hoo. That is good girl. Did you enjoy that? Yeah? You want another one? Let's go. Hello.
hello?
So it's life. It's life. Life's. It's beingness's dream. You can't imagine whose dream it is. Everything you imagine, everything isn't it. So what
I
in your experience, what's happening now which isn't happening? What's so there's all these thoughts, there's sensation, there's feelings going on, and what else is there? Like, what else is having an experience? What's left having an experience that's not found in the dream? It's not something I can describe to you, but it's not a thought, it's not a feeling, it's not an idea that's having an experience, it's not a person that's having an experience. There is something greater that's looking out now, that's always
I,
been there.
I hope I understand it, and not only intellectually.
Yeah.
uh,
It's that which is hearing my voice now.
but still, is this that is sometimes maybe identifying with this mind and body, and sometimes it feels like it feels itself, maybe not feels, maybe uh, sometimes it's more clear. I understand what you're saying about uh, about mm, about you might say pure consciousness, which in which all experiences arises.
Sorry, I missed the
Yes.
question.
Maybe it is not a question.
What's going on in your body now? What's happening? What's your action?
Now?
Yeah.
It is sensation in the body, maybe shaking.
Yeah.
And I experience body from, I don't know from where. It is like I'm about now in the room, and like all space from in this room, it is me. Or if I look in the window, it expands to outside, and this is also me. uh,
So this is what's happening. Bum on seat, sensation in body, thoughts, feelings, ideas appearing, and then there is a person that feels like they're having an experience, but actually they're being experienced. That person that feels like it's choosing something, that it can move its attention, that it could look left or right, isn't actually experience anything. It is experienced. It's appearing inside the dream. It's not the looker, it's an experience appearing. And that which is looking isn't separate from any things. It cannot be named. And it's also this sense of existence that's everywhere, and that's the love side of it. This sense of being. And that sense of being and that empty looking has been there since you're 1, 2, 3, when you've had heartache, when you've fallen in love, when you've been excited, when you've been sad, when you've cried, when you've hated. It's always been this sense of existence and this empty looking, both together, and they're not divided anywhere. What's divided is that person that's being experienced, which looks at someone and says, I'm this, they're that, I'm good, you're bad, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm wrong, you're right. And that which you're looking for isn't found in something in time, isn't found in me, isn't found in non-duality, isn't found in anything that's moving in time, anything you understand, anything you want. What that person wants isn't it. It's right here the whole time. Right here. It's in the intimacy of what's happening. But there keeps being a confusion with the person, with the I am right, they are wrong, I want this, I don't want this. The person, the animal body, the instrument is designed to always move towards pleasure and avoid pain. Whatever it associates with pleasure, which will be unique to each body-mind mechanism. It's always doing that. Due to no longer looking, where you can just rest, but it never will. That game of chasing pleasure just encourages the addiction to getting more pleasures. And I'm not saying in any way stop seeking. If you try to stop seeking while you're already a seeker and while you have that seeking energy, you'll end up depressed. Well, that person's got that seeking energy. It has to look all over the world. It has to go off and meet women or men or get a good job or get lots of money if that's what it desires, if that's what it believes it is. Otherwise, it becomes depressed. I'm not in any way saying stop seeking. I'm just pointing out that what you're looking for isn't there, and maybe at one time that will begin to be seen so clearly that what you're looking for has always only ever been present. And it's total and utter love and emptiness at the same time. It's not attached to anything. The love is unconditioned. It's for no reason. It's not because you've given me something or because life's worked out. It's just there. in all the failings and all the beauty and all the growth and all the destruction and all the war and all the peace. The love is there. See, I think Khaleesi wants in again.
Sorry.
I think my dog wants in again. One sec.
Did you finish? Wow, what a lucky girl you are. What a lucky girl you are.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say? For us?
So we can say recognition might happen, that it is always here.
Yeah. Just becomes really apparent.
Can it be that recognition is happened, but again forget?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's often what happens, is it becomes, it's seen and then it's covered and then it's seen and then it's covered. But it's not just an recognition, it's an energetic shift from, I mean, that recognition from being somebody that's inside the body, like a bound energy that's inside the body, but we can call it recognition if you like.
That was what I am asking, actually, because
But
this
you're
is
unaware of yourself, because what you're doing is you're just trying to feed your addiction to getting pleasure. You think that you're chasing enlightenment, but every time you speak to me, you're just trying to feed your addiction. It's not the same with everyone that asks a question, but I can just tell you that. Just be honest with what's actually happening with your experience. Be honest now as to what you're feeling. See that seeking energy inside your body that's trying to get something for me. But normally we're so cut off we can't even feel it, and it just underlies us as a slight anxiety or excitement. You might feel excited to speak to me, but I'm no different or more special than a rock that is sitting on the floor, or the table that you're sitting at, or the wall. So just feel that in the body, that you're trying to seek intellectually to get a pleasure pill. I'm not saying don't listen to non-duality, but see, the formulations of questions are never going to get you to the end of the question. They're just trying to give you that injection of pleasure, that injection of safety and security. You've just got to experience being unsafe. You've got to experience being afraid. You've got to experience not knowing the answer. And that's okay, because it's not found in that world. It's there. When that person stops running so quickly around on the treadmill trying to get there, then it's seen. It's there. So what you can do when you're by yourself, or you can try to do it now, is just try to explore the actual sensations that are going on and get to know the person. Begin to see what it's doing, that it's always seeking to get its pleasure hit. And that's its natural movement. The body's always designed to move towards pleasure, and that shouldn't stop. You shouldn't just be walking into fires or putting your mouth in your head in a lion's mouth. So I'm not saying do that. Like, the response should be to run away from a lion or move away from a lion. But what I'm trying to say is going to be complete in time. You're never going to get it there. Excuse me. You see, so Khaleesi's, she's driven by her food at the moment. I can't keep the doors open because it's too cold here, but she's agitated to leave her bones outside. So she's in, she's out, she's in, she's out, because of the movement towards pleasure. That's always meant to happen. But Khaleesi is not deluded into thinking or ever having the dynamic of looking for wholeness in that pleasure. Pleasure is just pleasure. Wholeness is her nature. I can see it even in your eyes, your longing towards me. It's not me. I'm no different than that shirt you wear, than the computer. I'm made of the same. It's all God. I just am the instrument that speaks it. You have to go through the discomfort.
Go through discomfort.
Like coming off drugs. You're so used to just chasing after pleasure. It's a drug. Your whole intellectual thinking is based on running away from your experience. And listening to non-duality is important. Like, I'm not saying don't listen to non-duality, don't go on retreats, don't explore this subject. I'm not implying that in any way. I would encourage that. But basically what it comes down to is that energy has to collapse back into itself. So you as a person has to begin to explore the actual sensation and the actual experience rather than trying to get a high or trying to just avoid feeling. You got to feel the fear of being alive as a separate person because you're afraid. You got to feel the fear of lack of money, of lack of love, of being abandoned, of being rejected. That's what keeps you running. And it's okay, it's empty, it's nothing. It's nothing to be afraid of. You're running from your own shadow. And it's not just you, it's everybody that's separate.
I'm not sure that I understand you correct. You say this seeking is like avoiding from actual experience. Yeah. It
You
is
have
all.
to sit and explore your experience. You have to
Sorry?
sit and explore your experience. Person's like, I don't have time for that. And I need to listen to non-duality. I'm not saying don't listen to non-duality. If it wasn't for non-duality, it wouldn't have got this far. But there has to be a point where there's an exploration of experience.
Yeah, like, it seems like experience in each moment, in this moment, it is like a door to I don't know how to say it, to maybe to end of seeking, to
In a lie to try and get love and avoid fear. And that selling yourself short by living in that lie just makes you feel worse and worse about yourself. Do you understand what I mean by selling themselves short?
should.
Yeah, so short means you're selling yourself. You're like, you're trying to get love and approval here.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's like you're selling yourself short. I don't know how else to say it. Sorry, you're selling yourself for cheap. You don't need to do it. I'm not saying don't listen to non-duality, but this is what you'll be doing throughout your whole life, is giving yourself away for the idea of security and love, and it's never going to work. It will make you feel more insecure and more lackful, more without love. Everything you look for is your nature. You're never, ever, ever, ever going to find it in time. I can't convince you of that, but it has to be explored. Your home is sat there now. Your home is what looks at me. Your home is what hears the sounds. It's not me. It's not what Lisa says. It's not what any guru says. It's that which is experiencing this dream. And that experiencer is never separate from the dream. It's never absent. It's always present. But the person that plays out is constantly trying to sell itself in order to get home. But it's looking for home in the wrong place. It's that which listens now. And this is why so many speakers recommend meditation or just sitting. Not that I'm recommending or not recommending, but the reason they do is because the person is always trying to get away. There has to be an exploring of what's happening.
Now is strange sensations, like my mind cannot understand.
Yeah,
Like
that's okay. Just listen to my energy then. You can also listen to it back with subtitles once it's recorded.
yeah.
Yeah, on YouTube. Where are you from?
From Moscow.
Oh, nice. Nice. Oh no, she stopped barking now. So, in, out, in, out. Nice. Oh, well, lovely speaking to you. And you can listen back and then maybe you can understand it better. But you are that which you look for. That which is looking is what's looked for. But thank you for calling.
Yeah, thank you, Lila.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, she wants in again. Come on. Come on. Yeah, you can come in. Come on in. Okay, we can bring the bones in. Your one and only time. Let's bring them in. Come on. Come on. Bring them in. Come on. Come on. Here you go. Yeah. There you go. It's gross. Khaleesi's getting agitated about she's allowed to bring them in. I normally let her in the house. She can have them here. Funny girl. Funny girl. It's so gross. Can you see? What are you, puppy? Good girl, aren't you? You happy with that? I'm going to show off of how good she is. She's a very good girl. Lisa's bone. Yeah, you can be your bone. Not for Khaleesi. Yeah, you can have Lisa's bone. Lisa's bone. Not Khaleesi. She's so sweet with me. If only I could teach her to be like that with other people. She can be really sweet with some people. She thinks my parents are gods, and she really likes my friends that live close here as well. Okay, we've got lots of people calling. Let's have a look. They're all trying to tell me, you gone offline, Lisa. Yep, they're still there. Hi, Susan. I'd like to ask a question, but one's not coming. Okay. Thanks, Susan. Yes, all as well. Hi, Ricarda. Hi, Graham. Hi, Lisa's group. Oh. Hi, Nick. Hi, Phyllis. Hi, Danya. Okay, Danya.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Hey.
Hi.
Where is Skype? There. Nice. Have we spoken before? I feel like I recognize your picture, but I can't remember if we've spoken.
No.
We've never spoken.
No. No, this is the first time. And I always felt some kind of, just a moment, I think I have to turn off the sound
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
here. Okay. Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Hey. Yeah, I feel a bit fear,
Yeah.
agitated.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
You can just,
Well,
you know, you can just take time. I don't mind silence at all. If you want to just sit in silence until you feel a bit more
yeah.
comfortable, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. My child is here, so I have to take care of him, and so maybe he will interrupt the conversation. So I don't know if that happens. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Um, Di je tako, Tom? Ćeš doći tu k mami? I said it before. So English is not my first language, so maybe I'll have some problems, but I think it will be fine.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you can always, if you don't understand me, you can always go and listen back after.
Yeah. I've been on this non-duality search, let's say like this, or listening to non-duality for about maybe 8 years, something like that. And I've been through lots of experiences of oneness and contractions, and you know, but now it seems like actually I'm sorry, I'm so confused now.
That's okay. We can just sit in silence until something comes. Just take your time. There's no rush. And this is what the whole of life's like. We're always panicked because we feel like we have to rush and we have to be something, but we never have to be anything. You just sell yourself short. You just sell yourself for cheap every time you try to be something when you're not ready, every time you try to deny emotion or suppress a feeling in order to do action, to speak, to be in relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And when I hear your message, when you said, actually, I think first time when I heard when you said, you have to be yourself. I mean, you have to be 100% yourself. I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard. It's for me like, oh my God, I can't be myself. I'm just wrong. I'm not.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not good enough. I just feel a lot of. Most of the time, I feel afraid.
Yeah.
I feel agitated. I feel scared of everything. And will I do good or not? It's always like feeling not good enough in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
And when I heard you were saying that, it was like, no, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, this is
That's why I'm here in non-duality. I want to be something enlightened. I don't want to be this.
yeah, yeah. There's this lady I speak with, who a really lovely lady, and I always get the sense that she feels very disappointed when I imply that she's got to feel her feelings or let it be as it is. And partly is because she's in the mentality of looking at enlightenment in order to escape herself and her problems. And every time we talk again, I get the sense that we start again in a way of me telling her that she is to be herself or feel what she feels. And then she goes back to listening to other non-duality teachers, which are talking about this stillness. And that is part of non-duality. But the way that you see, the stillness is behind all things. So the stillness is actually inside the fear. It is the fear.
Yeah.
And the stillness is your insecurity. But while that functioning of you keep trying to run away from it, there's always a fixation on the movement. There's the fixation of you moving on in time. And so if you listen to the Buddha story, what happened when he sat under the Bodhi tree was not that he accepted heaven or hell. It's that heaven and hell presented themselves and he no longer ran away. And he didn't make himself no longer run away. It was seemingly in the storyline, many years of exploring this subject and many different practices, there was just a point, and some non-duality speakers speak about this, of exhaustion, where he just stopped running away. And then heaven and hell presented itself. And that's extreme, that heaven and hell presented itself, because the way that it presents itself isn't through a TV that you put on late at night. Heaven and hell is, though that seeking, it is the person. It is the feelings. It's the feeling of hell. I mean, if there was no feeling of hell, if you were watching a hell scene and there was no feeling of hell, it wouldn't be hell. So there was no feeling of fear. And so the Buddha, for 40 days and 40 nights, I mean, that's a long time, heaven and hell was presented and he didn't move. And then there was this stillness, like he was no longer a person moving in time. He was still in awakening, but there was a movement back to the stillness, to that consciousness, to that essence which is ever present and never moved. So you could say, in a way, when he was sitting under the tree, he was no longer the Buddha. He was not the Buddha, Gautama, sorry. After the awakening, the liberation, after the tree, he got called the Buddha. But before that, he was called Gautama. He was no longer that person. There had been a movement back to that stillness. So that was an awakening. But then heaven and hell had to present itself because his body was still programmed to seek. So he still had the energy of seeking for freedom in time. And so that presented itself, but he, who he truly was, didn't move. And then that energy of Maya burnt itself out. But that's intense, 40 days and 40 nights of heaven and hell. So imagine now you got presented all the wealths in front of you. You got presented, with everything you've ever dreamed of. There was no longer any involvement in that. There was no longer a Gautama there that was trying to find a... Can you still hear me? Hello?
My connection, I think that my connection is a bit weak or something, I don't know.
Oh, yeah?
So it's a bit...
Let me
it's
turn off my video. That might make it better for you.
maybe.
Can you hear any better now? It could be mine, but I doubt it.
No, I think... No, I think it's mine. No, it's not. It's not. The sound is the same with the picture and without.
Okay, I'll turn the picture back on.
Yeah, you can put the picture back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So heaven
maybe
and
now.
hell presented itself, and you can go back and listen to this afterwards if you miss it. So heaven and hell presented itself, and there was no longer a Gautama there that was getting involved. So, you know, if your desire is having thousands of beautiful women looking at you, or thousands of beautiful men, or lots of sex, or money, or a beautiful home, or the perfect children, whatever it was, Gautama no longer tried to reach out for that. And he no longer tried to reach out to avoid hell. It just played. Both played. And it wasn't to him that it was playing. He had dissolved by that point, or there was a certain amount of dissolving. It was to who he truly was. Which has never moved. So that which looks now, that which is experiencing now, that essence, that amness has never moved. There's always been amness, and there's always been looking. There's always been this sense of existence, this experiencer. And that's never belonged to somebody moving in time. The somebody moving in time is appearing inside this dream.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I forgot originally what you were saying. To take it back to you and your question.
The question was actually
so now what's got to happen is there's got to be an absolute allowance of what happens there in that body.
Yeah, but it's such a tremendous fear.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I don't call it a fear, it feels like burning.
Yeah.
It's like burning. Sometimes in the stomach, sometimes in the heart area, sometimes in the neck, sometimes in the throat, and it's always just burning and burning and burning, and sometimes my body is shaking, and mostly I feel that I'm going crazy, and that I'm losing my mind, and that I'm not capable of cope with everyday life, you know. And
how old's your child?
He's 2.5.
Well, just on the practical level, there it really sounds like there's a big awakening happening there. But on the practical level, make sure that you go to the doctors and check that your hormone levels are all, and just have a health checkup, because sometimes after you've had a child, I know from all my friends, I've never had one, but on the sense of awakening, the reason that your mind's going crazy is because it's trying to avoid those sensations. It doesn't want to have those sensations. So it keeps looking for stories, changing the stories, trying to understand. And then there's this huge energy that goes into the mind to try and avoid them. But that mind and that bodily sensations are connected. So that mind kind of encourages those sensations. And if you can give yourself time to just sit during the day, I know it's super hard with a child.
Yeah, but I managed to do that, actually.
And what you can do is, if your mind's going really crazy, like, you can chant. So you can chant what you feel. I know that sounds really crazy, but just go back to very simple chant, like words, like I feel scared, I feel scared, I feel scared, I'm afraid. And you can speak it out, and when you're speaking it out, it will stop repeating in the stories, because what the stories will be doing is they will be trying to make up a story about it, about whose fault it is, about what's wrong with you, about what your life is. And if you just go back to these simple chants, it stops it going into those stories and just takes it back to the simple motion. basically what needs to happen is just a tension on the physical sensation of the emotion. But that's very hard because we've got so much energy that goes up into our head area.
Actually, it's not so hard
Yeah.
because I'm used to, as I said already, I'm listening to Nonduality for about 8 years. So, I mean, I've been through all kinds of spiritual practices, meditations, yoga, Tai Chi, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. And you can do all
So-
those things and it will help to an extent.
But now I just feel like I don't want to do anything, you know? Just want to be here and just feel this.
Yeah,
And
totally.
my mind is going crazy, and I feel sometimes I'm losing it, you know. But I know that I'm not that mind, and I know that I'm that stillness.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's just that sometimes I lose the trust.
Yeah.
You know, I like, what if, you know?
Yeah.
What if?
Well, just go to the doctors and get your blood tested. I don't know what they do, but just to make sure that the hormones and everything and the body is working well. And I would recommend that to everyone, not because I think that everybody is ill or anything, but because then it takes that level out, and then you can totally trust this process. Like, as it takes out the level, like you don't need to tell the doctor. You just need a blood test to see what's going on with your hormones or to see what's going on with your vitamins, to make sure that your body's healthy and that that's all well. And then totally trust this. That you just need to give it some time. Hello?
I can trust. I mean, is it really safe?
Yeah, it is really safe. That's your nature. But I mean, I do recommend the other thing, because then you can have that taken off. And I suspect, to be honest with you, actually, you most probably are deficient of some stuff. That's not the reason your mind's going crazy, but because you've had a baby and also you're living in a cold country, I can bet you they'll give you. And there's also a lady that I know where you can send off your DNA and she can test you as well. But that's not why your mind's going crazy. Your mind's going crazy because you've been doing this subject for 8 years and you're no longer feeding its addiction, but the body's still got the addiction to seeking. Yeah. That's why your mind's going crazy. But after this, if you write to me, I will also send you this other lady where instead of going to the doctor, she's a natural. She was a trained psychiatrist and doctor, and then she gave all that up and she only does the natural medicine now, and you can send off your DNA and then she can test it, which I always recommend to people, because then it just wipes out that level. And normally most people are deficient because of our lifestyles and this society. But you can totally trust this. It's the most important part, and it's not me you're trusting, even though I'm the one saying this, and it's not other speakers you're trusting. What you're trusting is your own essence, that own light of what you are, that which is always present, that never left.
It's very interesting how life cut me off all my friends that were, let's say, close to me in spiritual subjects and, you know, non-duality or whatever in spiritual. So it's just, since I've got pregnant, it's just me and the baby, and even so I had to move also in completely unknown area where I don't have friends anymore. I'm just alone with my child, and now he's going to kindergarten, so I'm really a lot of the time alone. And my husband got a job also in Germany, so he's not with us. It's just like, you know, it had to cut me off everything. And before I used to be a vegetarian, and I also stopped being vegetarian. It was a long time my identity also, and I felt like it just I had to start to eat meat, and it was like, okay, now this was also identity, so just move it. It's not in vegetarianism or in veganism. No,
Yeah.
you will not become enlightened if you if you eat only vegetarian food. Yeah. So it was just like a really huge turnaround and cutting off everything that was familiar, and
Yeah, I tend to do that.
yeah.
Nice. And how do you
So
pronounce your
yeah,
name?
Diana.
Diana. Ah, okay, with a J. That's a okay, Diana.
Yeah, it's when you say hello to me on the stream, then you say Dijana,
Sorry.
and I know that it's my name, but it's okay. Diana.
I do have a friend actually that's called Diana. Diana
Yeah.
from Latvia. Is that how you say it?
Diana.
You say yours Diana. Okay, Diana.
Yes.
She was,
Diana.
but I think she was DA. But I can't remember. Maybe she had a Y in it. Diana. Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's also funny how I'm listening to your videos for a long time, a few years, I don't know how long, and actually it's funny how I also went to south of France and I lived there for some time.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I saw you move there, and it's like, wow. Actually, when I was there, one shaman woman told me that all the people that are in Christ vibration, that are connected with the with this Christ vibration, and that are how did she say that? Carriers of Christ vibration will come to live around Bugarac, like 100 kilometers around the mountain. Sorry.
I don't know where that is.
Sorry.
That's in the south of France.
Yeah, Bugarac.
It's
You never heard of it?
No, how do you spell it? Let's have a look.
B.
Hang on a second.
U.
Let me open a browser. B.
U.
Yeah.
G.
Yeah.
A.
Yeah.
R.
Yeah.
A.
Yeah.
E. H.
TH. I think, do you know, I think I do know this because I think that
It's a bit a crazy area.
I think it's where these people got wiped out. It's I've heard of it. I think it's where this religion got wiped out.
What do you mean?
I can't remember. They had a religion and then it was, I forget. Oh my God, it's really close to me.
I can't believe, I don't even know where are you, but I know that you're in south of France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, she said also that like that I am this Christ vibration carrier. Yeah, and also that all the people that have this vibration will come to live there, 100 kilometers around the mountain, in next 10 years or something like that. And it was before I was there in 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really weird experience. I went with my friend on a bike from Croatia to the Bugarac mountain. Yeah, you should visit. It's really interesting. Yeah.
Ah, I will. Next time I go down, it's further down towards Spain than where I am, but it's not far away. Like a
It's
2
they
hour
say
drive.
it's something with Mary Magdalene and
Yeah.
you will hear everything.
Yeah,
there.
and also Um, there's also this other thing that I've heard about this area, about this religion that used to be there. Like it's this really beautiful, the religion that the Christians wiped out. It was all around this area. But,
You mean Cathars?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I know.
But the
Yeah,
thing is my French is so bad. But I'm getting quite good at understanding it. Like I was at a supermarket today, and this lady spoke to me for a while in French, and I think I understood what she was telling me. So I'm getting better. But I am a little bit of the outsider because I don't have anyone that can translate with me for me.
But there are so many people speaking English there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't speak French too, so I only spoke in English.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, I'll check it out the next time I go down to Spain, or if I ever feel like a little bit of a day trip, I'll go down there.
Can you see him? Can you see us?
No,
You don't see us?
I see a picture of you with a little plastic something on your son's head.
Oh, why don't you see us?
I've never seen you the whole time we've been talking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Hey.
I thought you realised, it's funny, isn't it, when you realise that your video's not been on and you've been acting as if someone could see you.
Thinking all the
Hey
time, like,
guys.
you're.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, he's a real cutie.
Yeah,
Aw.
he's beautiful.
Yeah.
Lega. Di teto. Oh,
And where are you guys? You're in Czech.
sorry?
You're in Czech, you said. You're from Czech Republic?
No,
Croatia,
from
Croatia. Oh, I was going to see if I knew a word in Czech, because I think I do know a word in Czech, but not Croatian.
No. It's
Nice.
Croatia.
Oh, well, lovely speaking to you, Deanna.
Thank you so much.
And now I
Lisa.
can pronounce your name correctly. And nice to meet you. What's your son's name?
Leonardo.
Oh, nice to meet you, Leonardo.
Bye, Teta.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, no. Thanks, guys. Bye. Sweet. Hey, Kevin. Hi, Andrea. Oh, sorry, I don't need to type. So Andrea says, "Hi Lisa, the speaking out of what comes with the emotions really helps to stop the obsessive projections. Thanks." Yeah, it really does. It really does. It takes some time to get used to it, but it's just all about being honest. The caterers who walked into fire. I'm not sure what that means. I'm just going to go to the toilet and then I will call someone that's been asked to call.
Yeah. Very serious face. Yeah, it's a very serious face.
So who else was it that wanted to speak? You just send the message again. I've forgotten. Kevin wants to speak. Okay. Let's go, Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Hang on a sec. You're
Okay.
really super loud. Although everyone says that when I say that about someone, they're not. Hello? There you
Is
go.
it okay now?
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Okay. Just give me a time.
You might need to put your headphones in because a couple of times when people haven't, it's gone doo doo doo.
I have them prepared, yeah.
Nice. Hey, nice to see you again. I can't remember our last
So I wa-
conversations, but I remember your face.
Wait a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you with the headphones now.
Oh, you can't? Hello?
Yeah, now I can hear you again.
Okay, we'll just speak without the headphones. And if you find that it's like what happens is it goes, ooh, I can't tell you.
Okay, yeah.
But we
yeah.
can't hear it. So guys, if on Ustream it starts making funny sounds when we're speaking, just tell me and then we'll have to work out another way.
I try to talk a little.
That's not the problem,
so loud.
actually. It's not too loud now. It's that it feeds back.
Oh, I understand, yeah. So that they hear my words 3 times or something.
Yeah, but we don't hear that. It's just in the computer they do. I don't know why that happens.
Okay.
Some of these
just
things
get-
are beyond me.
So yeah, I wanted to call you for a long time, but I didn't have the motivation, and tonight I had the motivation for it.
We've spoken before though, haven't we?
Yeah, we have spoken before about a few months ago.
I can't remember it, but I remember your face or I remember
Yeah,
your name.
I remember you too, of course. Yeah, so I've read a lot of non-duality stuff, and I just have prepared some questions.
Okay.
Because I think you have a precise clarity in a way, and I'd like to address this.
Okay.
So we are always trying to find happiness or completeness or wholeness in the movement of life or in the forms or in what's happening.
Yeah.
And you say, and others say, it's impossible. And why is it not possible? Because it's the only thing we see. Where else should we seek? It's all we see.
Yeah.
We can't see anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is impossible for that person. And it's totally disheartening when the person really realizes it. But most of the time the person doesn't realize it because it still believes that something's going to happen to it. But this is the part of non-duality where people can take this too personally and sort of mix it with the relative level, with the human level, and become depressed. So while you feel like a seeker, that's all that's important to you. As a separate person, all that's important to you is seeking pleasure.
Right.
And sorry, I'm just putting my feet up. I'm having a little move around. That's all that's important to you. Is seeking for something. If you stop that, if you try to stop that, what will happen is a depressive feeling will come up. And the reason that the depressive feeling will come up is because all you've ever known your whole life as a person is to seek from something and to have that excitement from seeking for something, to have the excitement of looking. That's that like and that high, like it's exciting when you think that you're going to get something, and when you think that like something, you're going to get attention, or you're going to get love, or you're going to be successful. It's really super exciting. And when you take that away, and when you begin to take that away from someone, and when someone stops seeking, then what they're left with is their feelings. And often that becomes overwhelming for someone, and they become depressed with that.
Right.
Because they begin to tell themselves the other story. I'm never going to get there. It's never going to work for me. I'm never going to have success. Partly they begin to tell themselves the opposite story, and they begin to hear the opposite story, which always comes with the positive. So in order to have the story, I am going to get there and I am going to get it and I'm going to find the woman tonight or I'm going to find the man tonight or I'm going to get the best job, you have to, by default, have the opposite story of I'm not going to. You have to have both. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, in order to know that you're tall, you have to bear in mind short.
In order to what?
No, you're tall. A tall person, a high person.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
somebody that's got height.
Yeah, yeah.
So in order to know that you've got height, you have to know and keep in mind simultaneously the idea of short.
Right. Yeah.
So in the idea that you're going to get something, you have to simultaneously hold the idea that you're not going to get something.
Right.
So in the idea that you're going to achieve it tonight and you're going to find that woman or find that man or become a really rich, successful person, you have to hold the opposite idea, that you won't.
Yeah, right.
So when you begin to stop seeking for that and stop hoping that you're going to get it, what can happen is the opposite story takes over and you begin to feel like a failure and that you're never going to get it. It's like the one that you are going to get it is louder than the one that you're not. So when you're fixated on that you are going to get it, it's louder. But when you begin to not tell that story, then often the opposite story comes up. That you're not going to get it. So you begin to get depressed and you get overwhelmed by that.
That's the case for me right now.
Yeah.
The opposite story coming up.
Yeah. So you get overwhelmed by those feelings. And when you're seeking in non-duality, often you believe that story. It's like that story begins to come up and you believe that there's something wrong with you, that you're not going to get it. That story in a way feels more believable than the story that you are going to get it. But you're not even conscious of this. Often, a lot of the time, it's unconscious. You're conscious of the thoughts, but a lot of people, it says unconscious, and the body just gets more and more tense over years and more stressed about things. And more living in stories of hatred, of jealousy, of deception, of nastiness. Like it fixates on putting other people down and finding superiority there. And it just gets itself...
I'm just in despair right now. I'm just in despair right now, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like I never find completeness again. Something.
Completeness. But the thing is you never had it in the first place. So this is where you've got to unmix the levels. So when you've had those awakenings, it never happened to you as a person. Because right now, I know this is so hard to hear, but that which I'm speaking to, that which is listening isn't the person. But the person follows what I'm saying. So the thoughts follow what I'm saying. That collection of the person follows what I'm saying. It has these experiences and it claims it for itself. And what you've got to understand the difference between is the difference between what it is to be a person and that awakening. And that awakening never happens to the person. The person is always a play happening in the dream. And
But how can you say that it doesn't happen to the person when you're talking right now as a person?
You think I am.
Yeah.
But that's your projection.
It's my projection.
In comparison to your experience, you then put that onto so you have a particular experience and then you think that that's what my experience is. Just like if you look at a dog, when most people look at a dog, they project a sense of self into the dog, but the dog has no... What's happening here is things are just spontaneously coming out of no place and there's no sense of Lisa having an experience.
Wow.
So actually when I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm drunk or I'm stoned. I'm so intimate with what's happening, I can't feel like it's happening to someone. It feels so spacious. But so you project that and you think, but there's another level that has to be taken into consideration, and that is the personal level. So the person always has to move towards pleasure. So therefore, if you're young, you've most probably got out into the world and you've been conditioned that you've got to have a job and you're feeling fear about money, you don't know what your future's going to be, all these sorts of things. And these are two different subjects.
Okay. So non-duality and getting it in the world are two different subjects.
So it's like the person has to survive. The person... On the relative level, the person has to survive and has to have means of survival. And that's not a bad thing. Non-duality is not going to sort that out for you.
Okay, yeah.
That's not
Yeah,
going to sort out
yeah.
that personal problem. That's not going to sort out that personal problem. But the reason that you're getting it all in such knots is because of fear around job. But this is going to take ages to talk about. Like this is
Yeah.
going to take hours of us to go through it. It's not so simple that I can wrap it up in the next half an hour. And I have to really get to know you,
Yeah.
like your dynamic. But on the personal level, you need to take care of your basic needs, like on
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
personal level. On the absolute level, you are not the doer, and the more that that's seen, the more that the person will begin to take care of its basic needs. The reason you're stuck at the moment is because everything's confused,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get away from fear of survival through non-duality. Through listening to non-duality. On a personal level, the person is trying not to feel the fear of having to hunt and survive for itself and having to... And it's so many different things that are confused. It's because you see yourself in this timeline, so therefore it feels overwhelming trying to make decisions because you're saving yourself. And this is where non-duality will take care of it, because that is an illusion that you've got to make this life decision of what you're going to do and how you're going to earn money, and that you've got the next 50 years of life in order to carry that decision. That's not true either.
That's exactly my worries, work
Yeah.
and next 50 years and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically what begins to happen with non-duality is you begin to understand yourself better as a person. So therefore the choices will happen more easily. Even though it's not ultimately your choice, the body still needs to make choice between this job or that job. So you'll begin to understand yourself better. But at the moment, you're most probably mixing up the absolute with the relative. And then on the absolute, but the absolute is that you move back to that stillness, but the person still has to be a person. The person still
absolutely.
has to produce money and do a job and live a daily life. You know,
Yeah.
we listen to stories of Ramana and the Buddha, and I'm not against being homeless, but it's just not practical in our society. You could be homeless, but Ramana got brought food by his mother. It's accepted in Indian society to be a spiritual person that gets fed for society. So in the Buddha's day, that you, out of respect, you always gave food to the monks. So wherever he went, even though it's really profound what he did, and I really love the Buddha story, and I really love the fact that they were homeless and the way they lived their life. But in our society, it's not like that at all. We haven't got any reverence for this in our society.
Yeah.
And you've been trained for 20 years, I'm not sure how old you are, but for 20 years, 23 years, that you've got to have a job in our society and that you've got to do things in our society. Basically, there just needs to be undoing. There needs to be some psychological undoing on the personal level. You need to understand yourself as a person. And then on the other level, there needs to be the repetitive listening to non-duality and seeing that who you are isn't the person. But at the moment, your person is most probably trying to be non-dual, and that's never going to work. Your person's got to be a person, and the person has to provide food for itself and have a basic...
Yeah, absolutely. The last years, I always was really into absolute non-duality. I really tried to be the observer and to distance myself from life. But now I'm going to recognize that the person can't be separated from this, And it's a part of life like everything else, and I have to do my things in daily life. And
I mean, if you want some time and some space to really listen to non-duality, in India they do have ashrams where you can go and do that, and you live a really cheap life for a couple of years to really be able to hear this. But it's going to come to the point again where you have to provide for yourself. Ultimately, it's life providing, but it's going to be doing it through that body.
Yeah, there would be so much more to talk with you, Lisa, and I think I'm going to book a private session with you.
Yeah, we have to do it bit by bit, because the thing is what often happens, especially when you're young, like I got into non-duality when you're young, you're trying to take care of survival needs through non-duality. And I'm not saying that it's not fucked up the way that our society does it, and I don't agree with our society, but this is the society we're in with the... and so we think we get into maybe like society or life will provide when we stop being someone, which it will, but it's going to provide through that body doing something. It will provide. And the more and more you learn who you truly are as a person, the more that you'll follow your heart and you'll earn money and survival through doing that. But you're still going to have to do something.
Absolutely.
And then also listening to non-duality, because you aren't that person as well. Like who you are is this space, this freedom.
I've heard this 10,000 times before.
Yeah.
And there is really, it feels like in the last years it's getting more spacious, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but I don't feel that much contracted anymore.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, not completely
Yeah. And then
recognized.
and then the person gets into very negative thought patterns because it begins to identify with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the
So-
doer, I can't do anything.
Yeah, I've got this behind me. Thanks God, I've got this behind me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said, I'm now really trying to get my stuff together now as a person. And on the other side, also listen to non-duality.
Yeah.
Maybe not hardcore non-duality like Tony Parsons or something, but maybe you are kind of expressing non-duality. Or there are other people as well, like Eckhart Tolle
Yeah.
and a lot of other good people.
Yeah, nice. But also the personal level does need to be taken care of, and
Absolutely.
understanding what it is to be human. Like these bodies are designed to eat. These bodies are designed to move towards pleasure. Like this is often not spoken about, and there's a reason why it's not spoken about, because there's so much identification to that. You're never going to find completion in pleasure. So you're never going to find completion in your job, in your lover, in any of that. But those sorts of things need to appear. You can save up some money and go and live in an ashram for a period of time, and
Maybe I will do that, yeah.
and then that allows the process to, not the process, but it allows that seeing to, and the things and the feelings to come up and to be expressed.
Yeah,
But then eventually it's going back to chopping wood and fetching water.
absolutely, yeah. Can't be for the whole life,
Yeah.
just living in an ashram and chill the whole day on the mountain or something.
Yeah.
And you know, currently there's such a big crisis in my life because I studied psychology and I broke that up because it wasn't right anymore. And now I've got an injury and illness which prevents me from living normally in daily life, you know. And I'm just, you know, at home today. I'm going to take for a walk and stuff like that. And now I'm really with myself, and I'm sometimes really in despair.
Yeah.
But no,
And
I
what
have
sort of things did the despair come up with?
Huh?
What sort of stories does this despair come up with? When it
maybe that
comes.
this illness might be for the whole life, or this injury, which I don't want to talk about what specifically it is. But the fear is that it might stay for the rest of my life, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, yeah. And so the reason why you're going into distress about it is because you're imagining yourself with a life. And one level that has to happen because you need to make plans for your life, but in the body, because ultimately you've never had a life.
And you know what other big thought pattern is, which keeps repeating itself? It's like, you know, I can't function anymore in daily life normally because of that. And that is really true. I can't work or something. And, you know, I guess it's just a period of time. It's just a temporary crisis and it will go away.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe life gave me that situation to go deeper into myself. I don't know.
I would really go into that feeling underneath, like that feeling underneath it of feeling stuck.
Yeah.
And feeling unable to look after yourself.
Yeah.
I would really have it, the next time it comes up, just give yourself half an hour to let that sensation just take over your body. Don't do it all day, but really do it as an exercise. See that it can never really hurt you. It just feels awful.
Yeah.
It's not true.
it's not true, but it feels so true because it's the onlyest thing I perceive, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
And really, you don't perceive it though. That feels like you're perceiving it, but you don't perceive it. It's an imagination of that. It's an imagination of the next moment and what you'll look like in the next moment.
Yeah. Yeah, the personal experience is really strange, you know. It feels like I'm somewhere in the head and I have a body, and all the same thoughts are coming again and again. But also on the other side, there's a recognition of something unknowable, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm also going into psychotherapy right now. It really helps also, you know, because otherwise the thoughts would only circle around in the head and in the space here. And otherwise, when I have therapy, I can speak it all out, you know,
Yeah.
and it goes out of the system.
Yeah.
And that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually wrote down 10 questions or so to you, but we can talk in a private session if you want.
Yeah. It might be that we need to go really deep into the illness and everything, and if you don't want to speak about it.
Yeah. I hope I get the money from my parents for doing the private session, but I think it's okay because my mother is very supporting and my parents are very supporting at this time for me. So it must be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if not, we can. You can still write to me anyway, and we can see what I can sort out. But you can also call back on Ustream.
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Yeah. I just write you an email if I want to make a private session.
Yeah. And if there's problems with money, there's always
Yeah,
there's
but
always flexibility.
it will be all right. I think it will be all right.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question, or do you want to go on to another speaker?
No.
Okay, I have so many written down. You know, I always collected it when I was driving with the car, when I was walking around, when a question came up, which is also all the time circling around. I write it down, so I can ask you that. So, okay, it doesn't feel right now to ask these questions. You know, these were relevant then, but not now anymore. Okay, here's a good one. So my mother has the Course of Miracles, or Course in Miracles. Yeah. And you know, there's the famous sentence in the beginning, which really touched me, and I would like to hear your interpretation of it. It's something like nothing real. Oh no, wait a minute.
It's beautiful. I've heard it before, but I've forgotten
nothing
it.
unreal exists, and nothing real can be threatened, or something like that. And what would you say is the real?
The real is the stillness, not a stillness that you can see, but that which is experiencing it now, that which sees everything. Not something that can be looked at, but that which is seeing. That essence, that sense of being. And that can never be affected, ever. What's affected is everything that appears within the dream. And then there's the identification with the person that appears in the dream. And then that's when the suffering appears. And never be hurt, never destroyed. And that's what is real. But in a way you say it's real, but that's comparison to unreal, so that even belongs in the dream. So it's too impossible to give it any label. But that's what I think that they're talking about. But it's so beautiful, that sentence.
Yeah. There's also a sense of that when I hear that, you know, a little connection with it, or I don't know the English word. But on the other hand, I'm going to the head and try to understand it intellectually, which would never work, you know. But somewhere in the background, in the body, I don't know, it's heard, you know. It's heard. But the most of the focus in my body, in this body, is, you know, in the head and in the body. So I'm so identified with it, and most of the time can't hear the other things.
Yeah. And it's not you that's really got to hear it, it's happening anyway. That what you've got to do as a person, on the personal level, where you feel like you're a doer, you've got to understand yourself and understand how you're always compromising yourself by trying to get it out in the flow. So just seeing that the body moves towards pleasure and moves to avoid pain, and then the person is always trying to sell itself in order to get its pleasure. So whether that be not say something because it wants to be liked by the other, or whether it's avoiding something because it doesn't want to feel fear. So it doesn't stand up for itself because it doesn't feel fear, doesn't want to feel fear. And then what happens on the surface is we have an idea of ourselves, and we're always trying to put our actions into our idea of ourselves. So when we don't stand up for ourselves, we might have an idea of ourselves that we do stand up for ourselves. So when we don't stand up for ourselves and we let somebody be inappropriate, we then try to make that fit with our image of ourselves. So we keep retelling the story of how bad they were, or how cunning they were, or manipulative they were, or we retell the story of why we didn't say anything. Or we just avoid that and we go into another story altogether. We try to ignore it, whatever it is. So we've got this image of ourselves that we're always trying to live up to. And then we've got this obsession. We're trying to find freedom in pleasure, and you'll never find freedom in pleasure. So while you feel separate, there's got to be an exploration of what it is to be human. Like what it is to be you. What that you is.
Maybe this means also, going into really just let the despair and the crisis and the depression be here for a while,
Yeah.
Because that's human too, in a way.
Yeah, can be. Yep.
Yeah. If it is now and I can't do anything against it, it is here, it will go away.
Yeah, it will go away.
Yeah.
And just trying your best to explore that. Like explore what that feels like. Explore what you're doing to it. Explore the stories you're telling yourself about it. Explore the identity you're trying to avoid or get to.
How would you recommend to explore the stories, which I'm telling myself?
If you just get a bit of time alone, I recommend this slide. So you start with the surface story. So if you've got an obsession about something, so something that your mind's circling about, so maybe it's something somebody did. So you start with that and you look at what it's telling you. And so if you're really hating them and blaming them a lot, just look at that and notice that there's a lot of blame forming in your mind about someone.
In my story, it's more about me, not about others.
Okay, so then guilt about something you've done or not done. So be really honest with yourself and in a way let it come out, let it speak what it wants to speak. So I've done this or I've done that, and really see what's there. So don't try to push it away, and then use it as a stepping stone. So if you go underneath the guilt, what do you feel? So if you go deeper and see if you can feel it in your body, where you feel it in your body, and if you go underneath, what's underneath the guilt? Like keep trying to use stepping stones. And normally underneath the guilt, there is a sense that you're bad, that you've sinned, that you've done something wrong. That's not personal to that story, but there's this underlying anxiety that you've done something wrong or you're going to do something wrong. And then if you go deeper than that anxiety, you might come to another layer of fear, that you're afraid of having choice and free will. It's true that you do, but this is what the separate person feels. So then see that fear of being alive, of your choices, of your capability, of what you could or don't do, and how you're afraid of the future. And then underneath that fear, you can see that there is a fear that comes from being separate. As soon as you're separate, there is just this fear of being alive. There's a fear of you being this small creature in relationship to this huge world. So it's like whatever you've got, just use it. But don't do this all day. Also listen to non-duality, that you're not that person. But just give yourself half an hour when you've got a really strong story to explore it. And see where those feelings are. So when you feel the fear or when you feel the guilt or when you feel you've sinned, feel where they are in the body. They just put your attention there. And then see that there's something that knows that's never been affected. There's this sense of existence, that beingness that's never been affected. That never changes. What's changing is that in the dream. And while there's a belief that freedom is found in the dream, that will keep carrying on. But your freedom is there even in the discomfort.
Yeah. And maybe the stories which I'm telling myself, you said something like I should talk it out or something.
Yeah,
Really speak it out
Yeah.
with mouth.
Yeah, but you can really speak it out, but don't do it with somebody else around. That's just too confusing.
Yeah, of
Just by
course.
yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
I told somebody that, and then they told me that they did it in front of their partner, and I was like, oh no.
What's also really good for my situation right now? Just taking a walk in nature, it's so uplifting. It's so uplifting.
Yeah.
Just connecting with the sunset or the woods and
and being outside of this fixation on yourself, like the environment that's outside you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And can I ask one last question?
Sure.
Okay. So you also mentioned a lot, and other teachers too, the dynamic of avoiding pleasure, avoiding pain, and seeking pleasure.
Yeah. Now the body is naturally set up to do that. Enlightened or not enlightened, that's a mammal, and we're a mammal.
Okay.
That's what a mammal does.
That's my question. There must be, or is there a difference between normal neurotic human ignorance and the recognition of non-duality? Is there a difference in relating to pleasure and pain?
Yeah, because the difference is, and this is a huge difference, is that I, or people where that's happened, no longer in any way believe that there's ever any freedom in pleasure or pain. It's not even that I believe it, it's just that seeking comes with the belief that pleasure will bring you freedom and avoiding pain will bring you freedom. Pleasure and pain happen. It's part of being this animal. And it doesn't mean that I don't have animal expressions. So if somebody takes my dinner while I'm eating it, I don't get angry because actually that doesn't happen. But I would get angry at things. Like, it doesn't mean that I don't have emotional responses, but there is no sense underneath those emotional responses that any of those things complete me or take from me. What is completion is my nature, which is the amness and that empty looking, which is aliveness, which is the essence. So I still have the animal reaction. So if somebody came and stole my bag, I might chase after them and try and steal it back, like whatever it is. So I still have those reactions, but underneath it, nothing brings completion, because somebody would say, oh, but running after it means that you're looking for completion in it. But it's not at all. This is part of, like, there is a movement towards pleasure always. So there's going to be a movement towards eating. There's going to be a movement to having your own things. There's going to be a movement towards money. There's going to be a movement towards sex, whatever it is that brings pleasure. But none of them bring you completion. Your suffering all comes from the belief that you are a thing, that you are something, and that because you're that something, because you're separate, you've lost wholeness in some way, and that wholeness is in pleasure or pain. Wholeness is your essence. Wholeness is what looks always. But pleasure and pain don't have to go. And this is why at the beginning I was saying, it's really important to understand what it is to be human. Because like I have a natural creativity. So my way of being on the human level is an attraction towards creativity. And if I didn't know that about myself, or if I was awakening and I thought, oh, creativity is seeking pleasure, and I tried to stop it, then this is going to bring offense with identity. This happens with somebody that believes they understand what awakening is. Actually, the more and more free you become, the more that you're going to do that which you love, because the body is going to be drawn to it. And it's what I'm good at, is expressing, which is kind of like I'm good at creativity. Like I'm a triple Gemini. Well, it depends what star signs you read, but a triple Gemini. So my natural way is to express verbally, not as in like talking to people necessarily, but I write as well. I write films, I write plays, and I also have a high intellect. And so therefore, if I tried to deny that in some way and just went with people with low intellects, I'm sure there would be an element of fun to it, but there's going to be a part of me that's not stimulated. Like it's something that this body has. And so when you stop feeling guilty, when you stop trying to avoid things and you're lying to yourself, then you're just going to have this natural draw to that which you love. And that's why then when I talk about like you've got to follow what you love, it's not even that you've got to do it, it's that the way it is, that's what's going to begin to shine through. It's following that which you love. And we all have our natural talents, but we kind of get talked out of them by the stupid education system, and we get talked out of ourselves. We've all got a natural place in the pack.
Yeah.
And my place in the pack is the communicator and
Absolutely.
the storyteller.
I really realized that. It's amazing listening to you, you know. It's wow.
It's a funny thing because it's also funny for this personality as well, because I'm also an introvert.
Really?
But it's really funny that's like it's so funny.
Yeah, it's really funny.
And this is why, like, knowing yourself on the human level, because we normally, what's happening to us is we've been conditioned so strongly by society of fear of money that we're not doing that which we're passionate about. Because we're afraid of it.
That's why there are more and more burnouts and, you know, prescriptions of medicaments, medics and stuff. Yeah. It's a crazy world, isn't it?
Yeah, it was an identified society, so therefore we're all in this society that's identified.
Yeah. You know, I've heard lastly a story about a guy that came to the early Indians in America. Do you call them Indians in English?
Yeah. Indian Americans, we call them, yeah.
Yeah, and one guy, I'm so out of my mind right now, it's so strange. I can't think clearly, but God.
This is most probably a good thing.
This happens a lot of time, you know, when I'm in non-duality meetings or something, I want to say something, but the head just won't go anymore.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
I think this is part of what happens this is why there is these talks, and because it's like an energetic thing that's pulling you out of that constant obsession with the thinking.
It's like when I'm thinking I want to say something and I'm in my head, you know, and then the thoughts are going boom.
Yeah. But this is what it's like all the time here. And then now, like, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, I have no idea. And sometimes when I do these big metaphors, like halfway through it, I feel like I'm chuckling inside because I have no idea where the metaphor's going. And I'm like, bah, 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 bah. And sometimes it doesn't work, but a lot of the time it does. Like, so what happens is, what will begin to happen is you'll begin to drop into what you could call the big heart, and you'll stop acting from that place of the intellect, and the body will speak and do its thing without really having to think that much.
Because when I'm talking, you know, I'm mostly talking about the head, and also before I'm talking, I'm thinking what I should talk, you know. That's so heady. And maybe when I'm talking to you or something, it's really another pattern, you know. And that's recognized somehow. And it does really good, you know, to talk it out. I don't know the English word.
Spontaneously?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely spontaneously, and not always with pre-thought.
Yeah, totally.
It's really more authentic. But you know, there's again a fear then that I reveal something of myself that shouldn't be seen by other people. And that's the fear, and that's why I'm in the head, you know.
Yeah, that's why everybody's in the head. And this is what the illusion of self is. You've been taught what you have to be, and then there's a natural way of being. And the reason that I can do these talks and do this sort of thing is because I don't have this idea of what I'm trying to be. Therefore, it just comes out. And then if I mess it up or say something really bad, then it just goes. It's like, there might be a moment of embarrassment where my cheeks blush. Sometimes, there's only one time that I've taken a video offline because of something I said, and that was because I can't even tell anyone why. No, it's not because of an identity thing, but it's because it could just get me in trouble.
Wow. Sorry.
You're totally
I was thinking
losing.
about, it's just so simple. It's really
simple.
so simple.
It's like being a kid.
Yeah, and it's constantly overlooked, you know. And also I'm seeking in non-duality. It's just a concept, non-duality. When I talk about non-duality, I see the word non-duality before in my head, you know.
I used to have a teacher that would refuse to even put it in that category because It's another title, it doesn't matter. It's seeing that you aren't that person, that there is a freedom here that's got nothing to do with the intellect, nothing to do with any movement. And then on the personal level, it's becoming truly that person. Like the flower's truly blooming in its that flower side, that flower style. What we're taught as a person is that we've always got to be a different flower. And you're just got to be yourself. And then some will like you, some won't. Some will laugh at you, some won't.
Yeah. And you know, the hardest thing is when I sit with my parents, because my father, I don't want to talk bad about him, but he was always, you know, in a way, the dominating part of the family, which compressed my feelings, my anger, my sadness and stuff like that, and my whole personality in a way. And when I'm sitting in front of him and I want to talk and be authentically, it's so hard to be myself, you know, because I constantly have to put on my mask and my personality.
Yeah. I mean, there might be a time where you can come where you could just say that to him, but if not, then it might be a time where you have to move away from him a bit. Like,
for now, we are really coming closer, you know.
That's nice. And especially like your mum's reading A Course in Miracles, that's great.
Yeah. She doesn't read it, she just has it. Because she got it for free. She never read it before. Yeah.
Oh, she got it for free, that's sweet. I haven't read it, I've read parts of it. And I know it well because when I first started speaking, for some reason I was very popular with the Course in Miracle communities. I still am actually, but not as popular as I was. So I used to have lots of people inviting me from Course in Miracles, and so I got to know it a lot through that.
Okay. Well, Lisa, there's coming up so many questions, and I think I will do a private session with you sometimes.
Okay.
Because,
well, you can also call back next time as well.
Yeah, of course. And I feel these are not only intellectual questions, but also really deeper questions.
Yeah. No, it's nice. I can really feel that there's an energetic thing happening with you.
Absolutely. And you know, about a half a year ago, I was at the stars and things. Astrology.
Yeah.
My mind is so stopping right now.
Do you know what I thought when you said that, at the stars and things? Like, I thought in England we have this thing like skating with stars at Christmas. And so you were like, a year ago I was at the stars, and I was like, and so I was thinking of famous people. Astrology, okay.
Yeah, and she said that, you know, from my birth horoscope, that the next 2 years will be dying and birth or something like that. And I really feel that, you know, because she said that depression might start, and 3 months ago the deepest depression started, and I think we'll just go through that and let's see what is in 2 years. And
it's the most beautiful thing in a way, like when these things happen, even as though it's so painful and so uncomfortable, like something else does begin to grow out of it. Like it's always changed this world.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's really amazing talking with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for calling. It was nice to speak with you again.
Thank you. Okay,
and speak to you soon. Yeah, thank you. Bye. Sorry, we just had a really drunk moment there. I'm not sure if you guys were able to follow what we were going to say at the end. I certainly wasn't. But I could feel very drunk. It's just an energetic thing. Hey Lisa, Lisa, sorry, I'm at work and can't call. You say, what are you looking for is here. And you also say, that doesn't mean you shouldn't seek. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm beginning to speak more and more in total contradictions. And the mind's just going to have to handle it. Just go with it. Because this doesn't mean you shouldn't seek. It's like, well, you're a seeker. There's got to be a recognition of that. What you're looking for is here, but while you feel that seeking energy, you've just got to recognize that everything you do throughout the day is going to be seeking. Like your whole day is going to be about seeking. Well, you feel like being a seeking. What people do is they listen to what I say, or they listen to non-duality, and then they try not to seek, and this just creates deadness. That's never going to work. to try and talk yourself out of seeking. When I hear this, I can't help it. It sounds like there is nothing to change or fix. The personal family job is what is the experience, and it is all love, so there is no need to run from these things. However, the impulse is to run, change, fix, and not doing so feels like suffering. Thanks. I have a feeling you will say there is no chooser and change will just happen. Ha ha ha. You've said that so many times before. Well, I said something different today. I want to talk. Hey, Saket. No, I'm sorry, it's too late. I'm off for my dinner. You see, I'm an animal. There comes a point where I'm like, screw people's enlightenment, give me food. Khaleesi's had hers. Look at her, she's passed out on the sofa now with a big belly. Where is it? And poor Lisa, she said nothing. Look at her two half-eaten bones. It's funny, I've been a vegetarian since I was 8. And I feed my dog on so many gory things. You should see my freezer. It's packed with rib cages. There might be a tongue in there. There's definitely some feet. No, obviously animals, not humans. Don't just cut up animals or humans. I get them from the butcher. So if you have dogs, I'm really into this because, and my friend Ina laughs at me because I get a little bit obsessive about it, is that I love, here in France and in many countries they do this, the butcher is ecstatic and happy to give you leftovers for your dog. And it's really good for your dog. Dog food isn't that good for your dog. And you freeze it. And I have garden cutters that I cut up some ribs and I cut up carcasses with. And you do it frozen so the blood doesn't go off over you. I have tried to do it not frozen before and you end up with blood on you. And so you can get all this leftover and you can look it up on the internet, feeding your dog raw. But it's fantastic, and it means that it's not wasted, that animal that died isn't being wasted. It's not just the good bits that are cutting off. Khaleesi is more than happy to take the scraps. So yeah, and my butcher gives it to me for free. So basically my dog eats for free, and then she lets me know when she needs vegetables or when she needs fibre. She just comes and asks me, and I know that she's asking for that, so I give her a carrot or I make her some vegetables, and she happily eats it. Her body knows what she wants. It's only when she's on processed food or on bad food that her body doesn't know what she wants and they get over greedy. I'm sorry, I'm a big advocate for that. I love it. Okay guys, so now I'm off to feed myself some vegetables. Maybe some French fries. So I shall see you on Sunday. So it's Sunday, it is 6 p.m. French time. And I can't think of anything else to say. Bye guys. Thanks for all the callers. It's so beautiful sharing with you. Bye.